All right, I'm gonna give him another 10 seconds to roll up. I have a quick show for you today because in my opinion, y'all need to get back to work because we got some work to do. So this is gonna be a fast one. But we are going to get into some good data. I'm going to give you some updates about the show, about where we're going, about what we're going to do, about some things that we're maybe working on in the pipeline and stuff like that. We'll see what I end up sharing today, and what you end up asking for. Once again, the more that you talk in this chat, I know we have a pretty quiet crew because the coffee's not hitting yet. It's early on Monday mornings. I get it. But this show is evolving. It's changing. I'm going to be adding more data to this. We're going to be bringing on new guests. You see, we have Luca hanging out up here in the panel. Luca's probably going to come on and be part of the show as well. I need somebody to riff with. This guy's got endless ideas. So you're going to see this show evolve. So for those of you who've been here every single week, who've been coming to this thing, who've been speaking about what you need and what you're looking for, what you want, now is the perfect time. DM me, talk in this chat. Tell me what you want to see on the show. Tell me what's top of your mind, because I'm evolving this and it's for you all. It's for the people who come here and are looking for this information and want it, right? If I can add more strategy to this, if there's certain guests you want to see, do you want to see more clients? Do you want to see more agencies? Do you want to see bigger or smaller brands? Are there specific topics and stuff that you would love for us to talk about, being who we are at Northbeam and being as connected as we are with some of the best minds in e-commerce, right? Like more and more that we can add, like, please let me know. We're just going to keep changing this, and your feedback is what drives this. So just like, if you're a college student who's like the one person who speaks up in class, you get what you need. So the squeaky wheel, right? So anyway, now we can start the recording. Let's get into this. So welcome. Let's talk data. I am screen sharing. Yes. Here's what's going on. Last week was a mess, right? Like a lot, not in this, but the last time we were here, we were talking a great deal about how tough performance was. A lot of people have been reporting issues with Meta. I am unafraid to report that those issues are continuing. They have made a lot of changes to the organization structure of their ads team. You may notice that your rep is no longer at Meta, or various developers have been laid off over the last X amount of months. I think a lot of the technical debt and things that were trying to get solved several months ago have started to come to pass. I don't see issues with Meta getting better in the short term. They're not really speaking to this, because what's going to happen is more and more brands are going to be spending more than ever on Meta ads and in the run up to Black Friday. So it's only going to get more messy. So this is the problem, is that Meta is still the number one bottom of funnel demand capture converting platform for performance marketers. It just is. I mean, outside of Goop, right? It's the best platform that we have. We are kind of stuck on staying with this. Would love to just keep using it. Would love for everything to get better, but we're kind of stuck with this. So we're going to make it work for us. My recommendation: put caps on things if you have to. Get all your alerts turned on. Set budget caps. Whatever you need to do to not let this thing potentially run out from under you, like it did, I think, back in April. I think April was when the big Meta bug happened. I'm pretty sure that's when it was. Something like that, especially for those of you who are maybe counting a lot on Black Friday this year to be your big money maker. Do not let something catastrophic happen. I think you really need to be in here checking this every single day. Go in and look, make sure that things are looking how they're supposed to be, make sure that stuff is being trafficked properly. I'm hearing everything from bugs on the business platform, like literally just going in and trying to see your performance, down to things being flagged incorrectly by community guidelines and then being unable to get that unflagged so your ads don't run for a period of time, or you lose a bunch of revenue that way. I'm hearing all sorts of different bugs. So I would just ask you, if you're someone who maybe kind of turns on or checks it once a week or just turns on and forgets it, now's a really good time to be extremely hands-on with your Meta ads, because there's just too much going on, and I don't want any of you to get in trouble with your clients or with your finance team because something went down and you didn't catch it, right? So please keep an eye on that. Another notable thing I want to talk about in terms of performance has been the absolutely horrific jump in CPMs we've seen on TikTok in the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks alone, TikTok CPMs have jumped 10% each week, week over week. That's pretty significant considering like we were really counting on TikTok. We've been talking a lot about TikTok on this show as one of the most exciting Q4 platforms. Obviously, you all are listening. So more people are going in there and dumping spend on there in the run up to Black Friday, using it as an awareness platform, which is going to be driving up CPMs, right? Realistically, because if we're going to be anything on the show, it's going to be realistic. Realistically, I think TikTok CPMs are cheap. I think given how meteoric this social media platform has risen, these CPMs are still cheap because it has yet to regress to a mean of like, hey, if TikTok is comparable with Meta, TikTok CPMs are probably going to get up there competitive with it. So what I think we're seeing here is what we always knew would happen, what we predicted back on this show months and months and months ago, that CPMs would eventually spike as performance spiked. And as TikTok goes and does all of what I think is the right work to improve conversion rates on their platform, which obviously you can see struggled a little bit this week, but as TikTok goes to improve the conversion rates on its platform, it goes to do things like, you know, pulling TikTok shops in, control, like they're changing the way they're doing their measurements, you know, to be more inclusive of TikTok actually getting credit for various conversions. As they start to tighten up the conversion side of their platform, as they stop being this like very common, like, oh, TikTok to Google to Amazon sort of funnel, as that starts to verticalize and become see it on TikTok, buy it on TikTok, you're only going to see CPMs go up. You're only going to see that price go up because they're going to be driving clearer conversions. And that's going to drive up the price as people start to recognize that it's working. Because I think an issue right now is not all of y'all on this call have Northbeam and you know, oh, I know my TikTok is working, right? A lot of people who don't, people who trust the in-platform data, which is like 60% of people by our own measurement, which is kind of crazy to me, they're going to start seeing that their ads are working. And what's going to happen there is like, what's going to happen there is they're going to go, oh, it's working. I need to spend more money here, right? And TikTok's going to get what they've always wanted, which is to compete with Meta for the lion's share of ad spend, which, as you know, right now, that's not even close. TikTok's got 3.94. Meta's got 64 to 69% of that share. So realistically, to say that word again, these are still the good times for TikTok. These are the good times. These are the early times. These are the not as blue skies, but still a little bit useful, still a little bit, if you can do it right, if you can be native, still a great time to be on TikTok. I don't know if it'll ever be a bad time to be on TikTok, but it's going to eventually not be a cheap time anymore. So for those of you who have been thinking about getting on there, are on there, trying to make it work, you're not alone. These performance trends have been really problematic for a while now. TikTok is very aware of their conversion issues, and they're going to be working on it. Other things to note. Had a long struggle with YouTube here. There's been many weeks of dropping conversion performance on YouTube for a long time. We do not split out shorts data from this data. I know a lot of people have been testing shorts alongside their YouTube ads. YouTube has kind of always been a struggle in terms of a place to do D2C kind of advertisements. It's a bit of a upper funnel awareness channel, a little bit more B2B, a little bit, you know, not necessarily see a pre-roll, click a pre-roll, right? It's kind of slowly doing what I think all social media does, which is eventually become cable television. Ask me over drinks about my thesis on that sometime, and I'll get really complicated. But we've been seeing a real struggle for YouTube to fix its lower funnel conversions for a while. And that continues this week as well. Now, getting over into industries, there were a bunch of red arrows here last week. What I'm glad to see is a normalization, because we knew that that was probably a trafficking issue that caused a lot of the negative performance that you all and that we saw last week. It was probably something happening in platforms and not necessarily just a trend. And this week confirms that, hey, this is the kind of variability we're coming to expect, right? There are some interesting notes in here. Electronics, of course, has dropped because everybody knows you buy those on Cyber Monday. I'm willing to expect that you will see that continue to go down, even though many of you are running massive, massive, massive ads, doing pre-Black Friday sales and all of that jazz. It is much, much more difficult than you think to convince people to buy outside of a selling or sales period, even if the offers outside of that sales period are better than the offers in the sales period. You have to really, okay, that was kind of complicated, so I'm going to repeat that. It's very difficult to get people to buy outside of an expected sales period that they know exists, a tent pole like Cyber Monday, Black Friday. It's very difficult to get them to buy outside of that, even if the offer outside that sales period is better than the offer in the sales period. That's because they're usually wired in to go, I buy my Christmas gifts on Black Friday. That's what I do. I've always done it that way. I don't have time to think about anything else. There's too much crazy shit going on in the world. I can't think about anything else. I'm just going to go on Black Friday. I'm going to knock it out. There's always deal hunters who will pick up on those things. But if you're thinking about growing, you're thinking about scaling, you're thinking about becoming a wider brand with a wider reach, lowest common denominator is a great thing to always focus on. And lowest common denominator is people buy what they want on Black Friday. Now, if you want to drive people to buy more things outside of your Black Friday time, if you want to front load those sales, which is not a bad idea because all the signs that I'm seeing, hint, hint, I'm going to make you even more of this, hint, hint, be expecting a Black Friday pre and post report from me, yours truly. If you are expecting Black Friday to be really good for you and you need to front load some of that data, you might be able to convert some of your funnel and be like, hey, we are running our biggest sale of the year. It's not happening on Black Friday. It's happening before. Or, hey, we are going to run out of stock on Black Friday, which is also a fun thing to do, especially if it's true. I'm not telling you to lie to your customers. You shouldn't. But especially if you're like, we are thinking we're probably going to run out of Black Friday stock, you should buy early. You will be able to convert some of that funnel. Do not expect to convert everyone because there's always going to be people who go, I don't even look until after Thanksgiving, until at Thanksgiving. I don't even look, right? So I'm expecting to see, all this to say, I'm expecting to see things like electronics continue to see their new customers and daily rev kind of dip until we reach that point of the holiday season, and then it's going to go spike right back up there. Other things worth noting, everybody's on the bounce. We've just bottomed out, small bounce in the bottom, right? So accessories kind of flattening out, not too many huge jump there, baby beauty, all these things that won't really get a huge lift in this like interim time when most of us are building awareness for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Looking at Google category, not too many huge shifts here. It's fun to see some shopping budget shift down. Unbranded continues to climb because people are trying to capture natural interest in generic terms that are leading up to Black Friday itself. But nothing too surprising here. So, no guests today, folks. This is all that we've got for you. Let's take a look here in the chat, see some questions. My heavy metal arm. I have a lot of tattoos. I have a ton of tattoos. You don't get a tour unless you come and hang out with me in person. Future ideas, some YouTube ads, connecting Northbeam data back to strategy or making decision on YouTube ads. I have some great case studies on that, actually. I've worked with several clients at Northbeam that have tested YouTube ads out, even a long time ago. And the way that they've structured their tests and the way that they've tackled that, I could definitely bring that up and chat with you all here about that. It kind of makes sense for specific, I mean, this is the case for every social media platform, but it kind of makes sense for specific demographics. So if you can, one, identify that you have a demographic that uses YouTube for whatever reason, consistently, even if it's just entertainment, but they use it consistently. And then two, you can make something that feels natural to that platform. Then YouTube could 100% work as an awareness or demand generation channel, not as effective as demand capture, because very few people are going to click on a YouTube ad and go and purchase, compared to usually they're being held captive, right? They're not necessarily trying to lean in, they're trying to lean back and watch, right? But still, if you do it right and you're using Northbeam to track all those touch points, and let's say you maybe are acceptable of a little bit of a longer sales cycle, a little bit of a longer conversion lag, as they say, tons of different words for that, lag time, conversion lag, whatever it is, sales cycle. If you're more comfortable with a little bit longer of that, then YouTube works great, because you can actually track it, and that's kind of naturally how people use it. I think, for example, if you have like, I don't know who's popular on YouTube, DIYers, people who do things themselves, contractors. So let's say you're selling power tools. Every contractor on planet Earth who has a smartphone tends to go and watch how-to videos on how to do anything. So whether it's lay tile or drill some special thing or install some special thing, you know, those are very, very focused people with very, very clear demographics. Are easy to target, right? And that's not new or innovative. That's just best practices on using YouTube. All right, we got another question here. We got PMax performance is weird. It looks worse now that every brand is on PMax. Wissam, you are not wrong. I got a lot of things about PMax. If you don't have brand exclusions set up on PMax, it looks bad. But that's what you want, because you don't want PMax dipping into your brand and picking up stuff that you shouldn't be paying for in the first place. There's a lot of people who are pretty bearish on PMax and have said pretty rude things about it, in terms of like, oh, this is just Google selling its crap inventory. Sometimes I think that's true. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes PMax absolutely makes sense, and it's like a perfect thing to have. Especially if you're not necessarily like equipped to have more complicated Google structure, or there's not necessarily like a long tail of relevant terms for you that's like worth bidding on. But like, if we're being honest, we're all in the same boat as you, which is like, we don't have visibility into the PMax black box. And as a result, everyone who's out there like having a hard time with it, it's like so difficult to look at it and understand like what's happening that's causing you to see your CPA rise by 50%. Like, the only other kind of lever that you have is looking outside of PMax and understanding where it fits in the general scheme of your business, right? So like, if your CPA is up 50%, is that because possibly your top of funnel has become smaller than it was previously? Were you running efforts that maybe were capturing more of your possible market, and PMax was riding that delayed wave of interest generated by your other efforts, right? Is PMax running out of a metaphorical pond to drink from in terms of your most relevant customers? And that's what's driving up your CPA, right? Like, that could be a possibility. It doesn't necessarily always have to be something that's happening inside the platform. It's always important to think about the holisticness of what you're doing. And as more and more platforms move away from specific trafficking rules, and you start doing like this black box thing that everyone's doing, like, I would not be surprised. I'm going to say it here first, just from the YouTube evidence of this. I would not be surprised to see Meta shift to a position someday where you basically do zero things. You upload your ad and nothing else. And they go, great, we'll share that for you. You upload your ad and you tell them how much budget you want, and you tell them how much targets, and they just do it. Like, I would not be surprised to see all of that flexibility disappear, and for all of it to be wrapped up in a black box, and for the algorithm to do all of your ad trafficking. And in that environment, the only thing that you control is where you are spending your money. This is now a mandatory plug for Northbeam MMM Plus. If you are spending a couple million a month on your ads, if you're in this call, you're hanging out there, definitely give a phone call over to our team, go to our website, go to features, find MMM Plus, sign up, get on a call with our team, because at that point in your business, You need to be thinking about where am I spending my money and how does it all interact. And I think as more black boxes, as more of the platforms start to shift towards being black box advertisements, you are going to want that kind of thinking around your business. All right, week over week graphic. Show the trends over the last 3 or even 6 months. Working on that for you. I know I've been saying that. I've been saying that, but I'm a one-man team over here, and pulling this data, and we're going to get more of that very, very soon. I'm going to be doing one especially related to Black Friday. We're going to get there. Guest idea, Ezra. Ezra's a busy guy. Love him. He's super busy. But we'll definitely try and get him back on the show. I believe he was in one of our D2C webinar or D2CX summits, but we're going to get him back on the show here. Okay, I said this was going to be quick, and it was not quick. I have 5 minutes. You've got 30 seconds to send any more questions. Other than that, I'm going to close out with some basic guidance. If you are planning on saving your entire year with this Black Friday, I have bad news for you. The headwinds that we have faced as e-commerce brands in 2023 are brutal. These are macro, from what's happening with inflation and what's happening in terms of unemployment and things like that, to the micro issues with various ad platforms, trafficking problems, CPMs being more expensive than ever. It is very unlikely that you're going to have unless you still have a lot of market left to seize, a dramatically different Black Cyber Friday money than you did last year. I've heard people report that you're going to do worse on general, you're going to do better in general. I think Common Thread Creative's telling everybody that they're going to do 15% better. I am not going to tell you how much better or worse you're going to do in this Black Friday because there's too many variables involved. I am going to tell you that no matter how old your brand is, if you've been around for a long time, this is going to be the hardest Black Friday that you've had since iOS 14.5. So since before COVID, this is not going to get any easier for you. It's only going to get more difficult. Mo, iOS 17 realistic impact on tracking tools and data visibility. It's not going to affect Northbeam at all, by the way. We use too many data points. We've tested it, we've checked it. Doesn't affect Northbeam whatsoever. It is like the removal of several data points, but we tested it over and over and over, and it doesn't change anything. So don't worry. I don't think we're communicating that enough. It will like rip the guts out of tons of some other tools, but it doesn't affect Northbeam at all. Anyway, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think you should be extremely realistic about what your strategic goals are this year. It's going to be harder, Mason, because I keep seeing CPMs get more and more expensive. I keep seeing ad performance get less and less effective. I keep seeing lots of brands who've had a terrible year to this point, either because of bad creative or because of, just lack of product market fit. I'm seeing more and more brands try and put all their chips on being like, Black Friday is going to be the best. We're going to save it on Black Friday, which means more and more people are going to be dumping absurd amounts of money in here at the last second and making it more difficult for everyone. So this is only going to get harder because you have less tracking. The kind of blue sky areas of TikTok ads are now becoming more and more crowded. Meta is having trafficking conversion issues, not to mention it's more expensive than ever. We know that Google's getting more expensive than ever. You all need to go be watching that litigation that's happening. Creative testing is always where it's at, Connor. Creative testing is the bottom line. You've got to be like the creative testing all the time. But yeah, like it's going to be harder because everything is more expensive. Like flat out, the amount of money that you put in, I just keep watching. Those of you who've been here know that since I started putting these numbers up, there just keeps being more and more and more red. And like, it's just red every single week. Like every single week, we've just been trending down on so many things. And that's what I'm gonna try and pull for you when I do this little Black Friday, Cyber Monday poll. But like everything is going to be less efficient than it has been all year. And more people are going to be going all in. So like, it's going to be nutso. You're going to watch your CPMs skyrocket. You're going to watch your conversion rates get really challenging. All your competitors are going to be like, oh my God, we have to turn around our year. We could do it on Black Friday. We can, which is going to make it difficult for you. So I would have a very realistic, profitable plan. I think if you have a profitable plan, nobody can shit on a profitable plan. It's like, look, sure, we didn't make as much money total last year or as last year, but if we were profitable this year, we made something, we got new customers profitably, and we didn't kill ourselves, we didn't run in a hole. Maybe we didn't grab all the incremental gains we could, but we didn't risk anything and we were profitable. That is the new trend. How many of these guests that we had on the show in the last 3 months where they're like, yeah, my whole thing is being profitable? Like, it's literally everybody from like from the agency who we had on here to the brands. Everyone's, Jones Rose talking about it. Chris, was talking about it. Like, everyone's like, profitability is what we're looking for. So I think if you are going back right now and you're telling your clients or you're telling your leadership teams like Black Friday is going to be the time, that's a very, very dangerous message to be sharing, because I think this is going to be a really challenging time of year. However, as always, I'm here for you. We're going to get through this. Stay tuned for some special reports. Stay tuned for some changes. And as always, thank you all so much for coming on and being here with me on this show. If there's anything I can put in this webinar for you, DM it to me, text it to me, email me, carry pigeon, doesn't matter. You're going to see a lot of evolution of this platform, evolution of the insights we're sharing here, and more detail than you've ever had before. So thank you all. One final shout out. Autumn has been here writing these emails for you, sending follow-up emails to you after these webinars, telling you about the guests that are coming. She's been an ever-present member of our webinar for some time. Her face is always up here because she's helping me co-host, doing everything behind the scenes to helping make this run. I am not a one-man show. Autumn has been helping me consistently for weeks and weeks. She's helped us book the incredible guests that you've had. And this is Autumn's last show. So everybody, round of applause for Autumn. Thank you so much, Autumn, for being here and for helping us out. Best of luck in your next endeavors. And go find Autumn on LinkedIn. Go find her on LinkedIn. She does a lot of freelance work, can be a huge help for your team. And everybody, thank you for thanking her. And until next time, until next week, everybody, thank you. And we will see you soon.